Thanks, everybody. I love the new catalog. One of the ones that hit me right away was the Happier Than Happy stamp set. I'm in love, and I'm not usually a cutesy animal person, but this one struck me, and I think the designer series paper had something to do with that. But I'm going to share with you a project today that I think you're really going to love, and it's a fun fold. Who doesn't love that? So let's do it. The first thing that is really important to discuss here is that this is an entire suite of product in the annual catalog. This Happy Forest Friends suite includes the designer series paper, and we'll take a closer look at that in a second. The ribbon, and it's a combo pack, so it's got 2 different ribbons in it. And then the stamp set and the dies. So we're going to talk about each of these pieces. I'm going to bring them out here, but what I wanted to really point out is that you can order all of it with one order number, and that's 158956. And then for $68.50, you will get everything you see on page 47 of the annual catalog. Here are 6x6 pieces of the designer series paper. Keep in mind that this comes in 12 by 12. So here are the front sides. And just look how adorable. And if you picture it in 12 by 12, it's even more so. And you can see just the adorable trees and flowers, and even mushrooms are cute in this designer series paper. And then here we have our bear with our fox and our owl, all the animals in this piece. And then this one has our stumps and acorns, leaves, and then there's a leafy print. And then if we go to the back sides, you can see a little bit more toned down designer series papers. Then we've got the stamp set and the dies. The stamp set goes great on its own, but it's always nice when the dies cut out parts of it as well. So you've got the bear and the fox and the owl and the stump, and you can cut out the mushrooms, which they're over by my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Oops. But then you also have some bonus dies. This particular one is the outline of the stump, so you can add color in a little bit different shade of brown, so you can add the bark to it. And you've got leaves that you can cut out on their own, and the same with acorns. So there are a lot of things here that you can cut out on their own, and that we call bonus dies, or I call bonus dies. And then we've got some that cut out images on the stamp set. So it's a great bundle, and all of it coordinates, of course, with the paper. And then let me bring in the ribbon. So we have a Sahara Sand and an Old Olive, and they're a twill ribbon, and they're just super soft and yummy. And you will enjoy working with them both. So these are part of that suite as well. I'm going to start out by showing you these images right here. And you may look at them and go, what in the world is going on there? If you stamp such a detailed stamp with a lot of shading like that, and it ends up all clumpy like this, you may have too much ink in your ink pad for it to work out the details. So here's what I did after I stamped this one and thought, how ugly is that? I took my bone folder and I spread the ink out to the edges of my ink pad, and then I tried again. Now this one works a lot better, right? You can see the shading in that bear a little bit better. And there's even one here that I cut out that is even lighter than that one. So, you know, depending on how much ink is in your ink pad, you will get a different look. But if you get it like this, go ahead and give that a try. Use a bone folder or something that you can use to move ink from the center of your ink pad to get a better image. We are going to start with our mushrooms. and my Calypso Coral ink. Calypso Coral is a color in the paper, the designer series paper, so I'm just going to lightly ink those and stamp them on a scrap of white. And I'm going to do that twice. And actually, I'm using 2 of the large mushrooms for this project and only 1 of the small ones. But since I mounted them on the same stamp, it was just as easy. I had my lovely assistant go grab my dies. And what you'll notice is that this die set comes with 2 of the large mushroom dies and 1 of the small ones. So I'll be able to cut them all out at once. And by the magic of television, here are my mushrooms. And you can see that I have the 2 larger ones and the small one that I was able to cut out all at the same time. Now, one thing, I made 21 of these for a swap last week. And I got smart about, since I knew there were 2 large dies, that's what led me to realize that's how many I wanted on my project. No more, because then I'd have to crank through another set. I also cut out one of the trees in Mossy Meadow cardstock, again, a color that is in the designer series paper. And then I'm going to bring in my trimmer, and I've got a piece of basic gray that measures 5.5 by 8.5. And we're going to do some scoring because this is going to be a fun fold card. And I am going to put it in at 1 1/4 inches and give it a score. And then I'm going to turn it. Since I'm right-handed, it's easier to do the short ones on the other side. And then 2.5. So 1 1/4, then 2.5, and 5.5 are going to be our measurements for the scoring. Then I've got another piece that measures, this is 8.5 by 2 3/4. That way you can get 4 out of a piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. See, I got smart there too. And then I'm going to put this in and score it at 4 1/4 inches. And that is in half. So we've got a piece like this. All right, then I think I'm done with my trimmer. And then I've got a piece of basic white cardstock that measures 2.5 inches by 4 inches. I'm just going to grab a piece of scratch paper and Old Olive ink, and I'm going to stamp the ground stamp that comes in the stamp set. And I'm going to stamp that down close to the bottom in Old Olive. And then I am going to stamp it again off the edge like that. So we've got some ground in our background. Then I'm going to bring in my tree die, and I'll use just some liquid glue to adhere that just down the center. Oh, hold on. There's one step before that. I'm going to take my cloud punch and a sticky note, and I am going to punch out a cloud on that along that sticky edge. And then using my Pool Party ink, I'm going to use this as a mask. I'm going to put it down right about here and bring in that paper again. And then just take our blending brush and then just a light dusting of blue sky all the way around the cloud and then down to the land at the bottom. So then when I remove my mask, looky there, we have just the subtle hint of a white cloud, which is just the way I wanted it. So now I'll grab my tree, and that's going to go right about there. And it's okay if it's a little crooked. I see that it is. Because then we're going to take our bear and pop up our bear. And just using plenty of dimensionals, we'll pop him up, making sure to get him walking on the grass, but also covering up the seam between, covering up the space here between the two pieces of land. And it's okay if his paw goes over the edge a little bit. So now we're going to add this to this piece of our basic gray. That will layer perfectly right here on the front. And then we're going to add our mushrooms. So a little bit of liquid adhesive. We're going to put it kind of right under his butt there. And then with the little mushroom, we're going to just pop that up. So I grab my little mini dimensional and it fits perfectly right on the back. Oops, I got it off-centered here a little bit. So it fits perfectly on the back, and we'll just set that down right on the edge like that. And we're going to wait for that last one until we get the rest of this put together. But isn't he cute? Oh my gosh. Now we're going to fold on these score lines. So we're going to start folding down, and using my bone folder, I really want to give this a good crease, and then back up again. So we're doing some accordion folding, and then this one down. So it's got 2 mountain folds. So we've got this interesting fold happening here, and we're going to decorate it with, not this one, a couple of pieces of the designer series paper. So I want the mushrooms on it, and that'll help highlight the little mushrooms that we're adding. And this gets tucked in here. So we'll add that here. Perfect size. So this is cut 5 1/4 by 2 3/4. And then this piece that is 5 1/4 by 1 coordinates with our basic gray card base. Okay, then we are going to take this piece and add some linen thread. So I'm just going to grab the end of it, leave plenty over here on the side, and then I'm going to wrap this around 2 times and leave plenty on the other end so that I can tie a knot up, or a bow up here. So I'll just tie a little bow. And then I'll pull those so that I've got this really cute looking bow, and then I can trim these down. All right, so then we're gonna flip this over, and we're gonna add some liquid glue down here just at the bottom. And then we're going to go over here and adhere that so that the bottom edge lines up with the bottom of our fun fold piece. Okay. And then we're just going to adhere that down. And then we're going to flip this over and add adhesive. We have to line up our adhesive with this piece here, and then fold that down like so. And then we've got our super fun fold card. I love this fun fold so much. And now I'm going to take that second large mushroom, and I'm just going to tuck that right under his right foot, just like that, just to add a little bit of color to that side, and an extra little mushroom. And then let's see, oh, the final touch will be the inside. And I have already decorated it so that you can see I've got the little mushrooms here. And then Wishing You a Speedy Recovery is actually a stamp from the Speedy Recovery stamp set. And I love this stamp set, but I also think that this would be a really cute sentiment for that waving bear. And that is stamped in basic gray, and of course the mushrooms in Calypso Coral. This piece is the same size as the designer series paper on the front, which is 2 3/4 by 5 1/4, or 5 1/4 by 2 3/4. And there is the inside. Isn't that super cute? I love my little bear. So I hope you've learned a few things today. I think we talked about a lot of little tips and tricks. And please let me know if you have any questions. And also head to my blog where you can find easy access to those measurements that I gave you throughout the video. Take care, and I will see you back here next time.